So do you ever get bored when looking at your ticker symbols? Or do you get nervous when you look at the overall market? And we know right now there's a lot of volatility in the market. And I do know that a lot of people are nervous, but also know that a lot of people are bored. And that is basically what we're going to talk about today. That should you always care about what's going on the overall market in the world? Do you need all the information? Do you have to care always what the Fed says, especially if you have a company that have great fundamentals? So that's what we're going to talk about here on the PlantStock channel today. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, then welcome back. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. And as always, I would appreciate an early thumbs up since it helps spread the channel. And just a quick plug for my new Discord channel. We just actually came out with it less than a week ago, or about a week ago. And we're soon up to 100 people focusing on Beyond Meat, Tattoo Chef, Oatly, the very good food company, Else Nutrition, but also talking about Tesla and Square and other companies out there. So if you are interested in being part of that PlantStock Discord community, make sure to take a look in the description. It's free now. It's going to be free for at least a couple of months, and see if you get some value from it. All right, guys, appreciate your help. Now, we have often talked about the author Christopher Meyer and his book 100 Baggers, especially on this channel, because on this channel we care about growth stocks, right? A lot about growth stocks. But as we know, to get just a 10 bagger, that takes time, right? That means that whatever is going on in the market right now shouldn't really matter. So definitely if you want to get a 100 bagger, right, 100x your money, it's going to take time. But what do we do to control that boredom or control those situations that makes us nervous so we don't sell out, right? So let's take a look at some of the things that Christopher Myers actually talked about when it comes to being able to make a 100 bagger. And it's like he states here, looking for 100 baggers means you're not going to care much about what the Federal Reserve is doing. It means you're not going to buy a stock because you like the chart. Next month's chart might give us a whole different signal, right? Paying attention to these things is a distraction. Investing for 100 baggers means you have to plant your feet firmly in the ground and stand still. So basically what he's talking about in this chapter is that if you're bored, then you just have to accept that and maybe do something else. So as is stated here in this part of the book, don't get bored, like the quote says here by VRYYF. People are dying of boredom. And that is something that's being discussed in this part of the book, that when it comes to our whole society, and it also goes into financials and the stock market, people are so bored today, right? So they don't know what to do with themselves. So they tend to actually make decisions that actually destroys their gains here, right? As it states here, the more I thought about this, the more I thought there might be something to it. Boredom can explain a lot. It can explain all kinds of financial behavior. And there's definitely a boredom arbitrage to take advantage of in the market, right? Especially for you who aren't bored. And as it also states here, and it's really actually funny, not trying to, offend anyone, but like he states, like people, when they get bored, they do all kinds of things, right? They act like idiots, they dress like fools, anything to kill the boredom. They may even commit acts of sabotage. And that being typically in the financial markets then, right? That why else put money into a tiny 70-cent share mining companies that have virtually no chance of being anything at all? Why bother chasing hyped up biotech companies that trade at absurd levels based on flimsy prospects? Because you are bored. And this also states here, right? Why do people buy and sell stocks so frequently? Why can't you just buy a stock and hold it for at least a couple of years, right? Most don't. That's what we talk about here constantly on the channel, right? With Beyond Meat, with Tattoo Chef, the very good food company. And as he continues here, why can't people follow the more time-tested ways to wealth, right? And that is one of the most important things. Don't get bored. And as he states here also, for example, it's incredible to me that people spend so much time talking about the Federal Reserve, right? And my newsletter peers, people in the media, they all do it. It's unbelievable. Don't these people get bored? Or do they do this because they're bored? And what I feel is really good here is that our all-time favorite investor for most of us, right, Warren Buffett, even he wouldn't care about what's going on in the short term, right? As he says here, I'm so bored with the Federal Reserve. Boring. And thankfully, it is largely irrelevant to you as an investor. Warren Buffett himself once said, quote, if Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan, well, today we know that it's someone else. This is a couple of years ago. But if he were to whisper to me that his monetary policy was going to be over the next 2 years, it wouldn't change one thing I do. So keep that in mind, folks, that serious investors, especially long-term investors, they won't care what's going on right now in China. I mean, it's good to know and have an overall knowledge, but you have to keep up to date constantly what the Fed says, what's going on in the overall market. If you are thinking about getting a 10 bagger, a 25 bagger, or maybe a 100 bagger, right? Then it has to be about just letting it lie there and grow. And he also states here later in the book that we should take advantage of that, because when people are getting bored or there's a nervous market, right, then instead of people like being part of a great company, but it's been trading sideways for a few months or for a couple of years, which happens often, right? Instead of just, if they start selling out that, and that also leads obviously to that company's stock temporarily goes down, then use that to your advantage, right? As it states here, the same kind of arbitrage exists with boredom. People get bored holding the same stock for a long time, especially if it doesn't do much, right? They see other shiny stocks zipping by them and they can't stand it. So they chase whatever is moving and get into trouble. And I think we know that that happens a lot here. And this is a typical thing that we often talk about also here, the way people work, right? When it comes to stocks and how different that is from other opportunities in the overall society. As a famous money manager, Ralph Wanger, used to say, that investors tend to like to buy more lobsters as the price goes up. All right. What he means is weird, since you probably don't exhibit this behavior elsewhere. You usually look for a deal when it comes to gasoline or washing machines or cars, and you don't sell your house or golf clubs or sneakers because someone offers less what you paid, right? And that is the really weird thing. So again, guys, if you're looking for that 100 bagger or even just a 10 bagger or a 5 bagger, these things take time. I'm going to give you some examples. So I'm going to give you a little example called Tesla, right? Right now it's trading at $775. And this is basically where it was traded a couple of years ago. Here, sideways for a lot of years, right? I mean, here back in 16, around $68. Then we go back to April 1, $16.48. But it's trading basically sideways here for about 5-6 years. And we know what happened then just before Rona hit. But even just like a half a year before then. And then it's been an uptrend since then, right? Basically, we've been up to $900. I expect that we will see that soon again. And we'll probably go way ahead of that because this is a great company with great fundamentals, a great CEO. The 100 bagger formula is there, right? And for some people, they've reached close to that already. And if not that already, right? But there are plenty of investors out there. There's plenty of experts that do expect us to have at least a 5 to 10x in the next decade or so, or even more if we are to listen to solving the money problem. So this was a boring stock for a long time during a lot of years when the market was really nervous, right? Like now, right? But for those of you, or for those who stuck with it, they're sitting good today, right? Then we have another company, Beyond Meat, right? As I think we're familiar with here, right? If we take a look at the last year or so. All right. It's been a wild ride, right? It's been a wild ride. If we take a look at it here, if we go back looking almost 2 years now, October 1, $84, $85, right? It's almost exactly 2 years ago. Yes, it's up and down here. It's been a volatile stock. We know what's been going on in the market. But what is going on here? When you take a look at it here, and we can expect to see it under $100 soon again. I wouldn't be surprised. But if we take a look at it here, we can see that basically, to some extent, it's been trading sideways if we look at a longer perspective, right? Some jumps up and down again, but it gets back down then, right? For some people, this might be extremely boring because many of us who really believe in the company, we're hoping for that, 10x in the future. And I definitely see this as a 10x company, especially from where it's trading now at around $105. And I see it actually as more in the next decade. But we're talking about that. We're talking about the 10 years ahead, or 5 to 10 years or longer, right? So you have to get used to being bored there, right? Because if you sell out at these prices, I've heard of people who had bought it. I think my average here is around between 130 to 140. So I'm deep in the red here, and I'm okay with that because I do believe that we're going to see at least a 10x from here. So it really doesn't matter that much to me because I'm in this for the long run, right? I'm playing the game here. And then we look at Tattooed Chef, right? Take a look at Tattooed Chef. Volatile ride for sure. Look at the last year. I mean, it's been up to 25. Then it's gone down to $18, $17. Then it's gone up again to 22. Then it's down again to $16 or $15. Then it's up to 22. Basically here, if you follow this trend, it's been up and down between $15, $16, $18, up to 25 several times, right? It tends to go up there. So for some companies or for some people, some investors, that would be extremely nerve-wracking or extremely boring, right? So people are thinking, my God, I've been part of this stock now for half a year, or I've been part of this for, there are even people who are like, I've been part of this for 2-3 months. But some people might be like, I'm a long-term investor, started investing in this a year ago, right? And it's not really going past that 25 barrier, right? A whole year, I'm a long-term investor. Maybe it's time to get out of Dodge, right? And we know that a lot of people do. I mean, there's a lot of short selling on this company. The last I saw was around 35, 36%, right? So, but people are thinking like, nothing is happening here. So even though it goes up and down a little here, but if you look at it from a year's perspective, right? It doesn't seem to push ahead more. And people want to see this at 30, 35. Some of us, or a lot of us, want to see this at the $100, $150, $200 with time, right? But that's the key, folks. It's time. We need to understand that this is going to take time before it actually reaches those goals, right? It's going to take a couple of years or many years before it reaches a 5-bagger or a 10-bagger or who knows more. We're talking then about 5 to 10 years because it has to mature, right? They have to grow into the valuation we know, compared to maybe Beyond Meat and some other companies, their price to sales looks excellent, 8, right? But they still need to grow into their valuation even more. And that takes time, folks. I think you know that. Same with Beyond Meat, same with the Very Good Food Company, and definitely same with Oatly. So these things takes time. So what should you do then, right? What should you do? Well, if it is that you get bored when you're looking at these different stocks of yours, right? Whatever. Maybe it hasn't been any stocks we've been talking about, but the principle is the same, right? Don't get bored. Don't try to look for, in my opinion, the next big thing. If you really believe in a company, you understand the fundamentals, you love the company, you like the CEO, you see a vision there, right? And you understand their financials, then You don't need to go trading and looking for other companies. Just focus on that and keep reinvesting. And this is an excellent opportunity that you have now, right? This is the time when you see the stocks pulling down the way they do. And if you do understand the company, and again, if you believe in them, dollar cost average, right? In my humble opinion. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. You all know that. It's just my opinion and thoughts, right? And philosophy. So if it is that you're getting bored and you're trying to look for the next thing, or that you're really nervous, then maybe don't spend too much time looking at the market all the time, right? You don't need to, right? Because if you feel that you can't handle it, if it actually leads to you selling out, and even if you believe you're like, oh, at least I got 10% gain or I got 20% gain. If that's what you're looking for, then respect, right? But if you're actually looking for the real bucks, the real money, you need to realize that you need to be in it for a lot of years, right? That's the only way you'll reach a 10 bagger or a 100 bagger, depending on the company. So my suggestion then is, if you can't handle the market, having to look at it and that stresses you out or makes you really bored, then maybe it's time to do something else, right? Then maybe you need to find another hobby, maybe exercise more, maybe spend more time with your family, or maybe start a YouTube channel. Find a hobby that might give you more money. I got to tell you guys, since I started the channel, I never get bored. And I almost, or basically never get nervous, because there's no time to be it, right? Because when you're constantly working, you're writing scripts, or you're getting some ideas, or you're responding to people. I mean, I'm busy, right? Having my full-time job and now having the channel and now the Discord. Again, plug for the Discord, join the Discord. Then obviously there's no time to be bored. So try to occupy yourself so you don't lose out on a lot of potential gains out there. That's just my advice. All right, folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got a lot of value from today's video. And if you did, make sure to smash that like button and help me out. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are interested in this kind of content. And again, join our Discord channel. Thank you, folks. I truly appreciate your time and your help. And as I stated before, this is not financial advice. Important to do your own due diligence. Guys, have a great day. Hope to see you soon, and peace out.